Hey, what's going on, Pixar fans? Dan Taylor here from danthepixarfan.com, and man oh man, do I have an exciting review for you today. Today I'm taking a detailed, up-close and personal look at the brand new Monsters Inc. Yeti 7-inch scale action figure from Mattel, and I could not be more ecstatic about this release. A big thanks to a viewer of mine, Andrew, for letting me know he was finally available on Amazon earlier this week. I always appreciate the heads up. Thanks, man. So my first thought when I picked up the box as soon as it arrived on my doorstep was, wow, it's a lot heavier than I thought it would be. This guy must be pretty big, and you'll see in a few moments, yes, that's exactly the case. This figure is pretty big indeed. And of course, since I did order him from Amazon, price is $12.99 by the way. You guys know the drill. He does, per usual, come in this Amazon exclusive closed box style packaging. You know, most of these Mattel Pixar figures don't even seem to be getting in-store open blister releases anymore. It seems the distribution of these has shifted solely to Amazon. But anyway, yeah, we got this Monsters Inc. inspired box featuring Mike, Sully, and Randall, who have all been previously released in this line. And this is actually the first time I'm seeing an Amazon box for anything Monsters Inc. in this line, since all of the other releases up to this point I've gotten at the store. Okay guys, enough of my initial thoughts here. Let's open this beast of a figure up, shall we? And here he is, guys. Now, this is a figure I've hoped for and wanted in my collection ever since I was like 11 years old collecting Hasbro's Talking Monsters Inc. figures back in 2001. The only Yeti figure I do have is Hasbro's small-scale, non-posable figure who doesn't even look a whole lot like the character, honestly. There was also a McDonald's Yeti figure who looks pretty decent for a Happy Meal toy. He was also released back in 2001, but that's really it for Yeti figures out there. I feel like Mattel here finally released the definitive adorable snowman action figure I've been hoping for all these years, and I could not be happier. Just look at him, guys. Does he look abominable to you? No, of course not. His sculpt is so stinking good, completely spot on. Mattel worked their magic yet again. Sorry if I sound like a broken record, always gushing about figures in this line, but Mattel keeps knocking it out of the park, so I can't help it. Well, I'm excited to get him out of his cave, so let's get into it. Okay, just got him out, and yes, this is probably the heaviest and most dense feeling figure in Mattel's Pixar 7-inch scale so far. His size is technically pretty comparable to Sully's, but I guess I just wasn't expecting him to be so big, so he just seems extra massive to me. I'll do some comparisons in a minute. Like I said though, he's certainly heavier than any of the other figures in this range, and doesn't feel as hollow. He's really sturdy and feels super solid, which I love. His sculpt is totally fantastic. Just look at all his curly hair or fur, whatever you want to call it. It just feels really authentic, really true to the character. I love the texture. His facial expression looks straight out of the film, unlike the other Yeti figures released in the past. And yeah, everything here just seems so right to me. No complaints at all in regard to the actual sculpt. Now, as far as articulation, if anyone is interested, he's got all the standard points we've come to expect in this collection. His head can rotate a full 360, but it's more of a vertically rotating plate, for lack of a better way to say it, similarly to Sully's. He's got ball-jointed arms at the shoulders there. Same at the elbows. And his wrists can rotate all the way around. Of course, this all applies to his opposite side as well. I guess that goes without saying though. His legs can move forward and up all the way, but then pushing them back is kind of limited. Not a big deal though. They can also be positioned outward like so. And then his knees have flexion as well as rotation. And lastly, his feet can be rotated all the way around. So that's it for his posability. I counted 13 points of articulation, which is perfect. I don't feel like any more would be necessary here. I will say, just like with the Sully figures in this line, I technically would have appreciated some kind of paint deco on his toenails and fingernails, but I just don't really expect that at this point. I guess I just know the quality level of this line, and since it's stayed so consistent over the years, I just don't expect that level of detail. But sure, it would have been nice though. Now, something I do love and appreciate is just how stable he is when he's standing up on his own, which you'll see in a sec. Again, that goes back to just how solid this figure is. And action figures' overall stability is hugely important to me, so I'm happy to report there's no issues there in regards to that. As far as his official measurements, Yeti stands essentially right at 8 inches tall, and then he basically measures 6.5 inches to 7 inches wide when standing in this very basic pose here. And now here I just wanted to show, just for comparison, Yeti's scale next to the other, what I would consider the other biggest action figures in Mattel's Pixar 7-inch range, and that would be Sully and Huge Jack Jack. When it comes down to it, looking at both his width with those broad shoulders and his height, I would say Yeti wins as the largest of the three, but Sully is right there too. And speaking of Sully and Mike, Yeti looks perfect with them, and I love that this figure can either be played with as a Monsters Inc. figure, or you can recreate your favorite moments from Monsters at Work, since he did have a pretty big comeback in that series as well. And the Monsters at Work figures from Mattel as part of this line are obviously the exact same scale, so that's just awesome. Now to wrap things up, if you're any kind of Monsters Inc. fan and or collector, especially if you've been collecting this Mattel 7-inch Pixar figure range, you already know what's coming. I'm gonna highly suggest picking this up. You will not regret it. And what do you know, it's just in time this month for the 20th anniversary of Monsters Inc. The only tiny nitpick I have is I would have loved to see some kind of snow cone tray accessory included with this. That would have sent this off the charts, but even without that, it's a phenomenal figure and completely worth picking up. Again, this is on Amazon right now, and I'll go ahead and drop the link below in the description for your convenience. I honestly cannot wait to hear your thoughts. As always, I'm looking forward to your comments below. And if you did enjoy this review, I hope you'll consider giving it a big thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Pixar toy news and reviews from my personal collection. Don't forget to ring that bell. Find me all over social media at Dan the Pixar Fan, and I will see you in my next video.